Hello everybody and welcome to Spud Stories. This is a place where I bring you some of the internet's favourite stories from around the world, looking into things like tales from the front desk, malicious compliance, housing owners' nightmares, crazy Karens, nasty neighbours, not to forget some petty and pro-revenge, as well as anything I find along the way that I believe you beautiful people will enjoy listening to. If you find anything today makes you smile or laugh or shudder, then please consider tapping the like and subscribe buttons to help spread some of that joy around and to help grow the channel. But please remember, you will always have my gratitude just for being here. All that being said, let's get into today's first story. So, I've shared a few stories here, but this may be the dumbest with nearly the biggest consequences. This all started because I was bored earlier this week. I was in a cross-sectional meeting about important but highly complex subject that involved people from the government, local authorities, health and the charity sector. As is so often the case in a meeting like this, lots of rabbit holes were delved down and very little was being achieved. It was also being held at the government's main building, so it is either freezing or, in this case as they put the heating on, boiling, so it was hard to concentrate. A hiatus was called, and so I took this as an excuse to go and check if I had enough time on my parking, which really means I'm going to nip off something and have a cigarette. One thing aside, I have given up 3 times this year. It's clearly not going really well. So I dutifully did go and check my car, wandered back across the street and lit up. This was probably an error, as an angry young man came marching towards me, saying, "What's your problem? I was only here for a minute. I was only dropping something off. What are you going to do about it?" OP says, "I didn't do nothing to nobody." The angry young man said, "I want you to get your damn machine and cancel it right now." I say, "I didn't do nothing to nobody." Now I have to say I probably wasn't helping the situation. I didn't respond with the normal reaction, surprise, as I had seen him coming. I also didn't respond with a sensible reaction of de-escalation. No, in my wisdom, I decided to go with reaction C, amuse myself. Did I mention I was bored? And, as it happens, I have had a rather difficult couple of weeks. My response to this pressure is to be silly. I can also neither confirm nor deny that I may have just finished reading Terry Pratchett's rather wonderful Men at Arms novel, and the idea of responding like the character Coalface was just too tempting not to do. The angry young man was not impressed, as his finger was now wagging rather too close to my nose for comfort. He says, "Where do you get off? You think you have all this power? Well, I'm going to show you." I slipped off the wall I was leaning on and repeatedly lowered my hands to get his attention. I say, "Mate, I'm clearly not a parking guy, look at me." Now, aside from traffic wardens in this local area tend to wear a hat with the local authority name and traffic warden on them, also with a vest that repeats the same information, and probably, most importantly, they have a machine somewhere on their person, and I, on the other hand, was in a fairly nice charcoal suit, with a lilac shirt, and definitely didn't have said ticket machine on my person. He says, "Yeah, you are. I saw you checking out that car across the street." Which was true. He had. It was just my car. I say, "Bud, that's my car. I was checking a ticket." He says, "No, you have to sort this out now." I say, "I can't. I'm sorry. I have to go to my meeting." Which, while flicking away the end of my cigarette, I did. I rather more briskly walked the 20 steps towards the entrance and flashed my visitor card at the guards who waved me by. But just as I started to think that was quite funny, a guard shouts, "Get down on the ground now!" There was a scurry of boots as I turned. The young angry man was now about 10 feet within the perimeter of the site with 2 rifles aimed directly at his head. He slowly got to his knees and instinctively threw his hands behind his head. I hadn't noticed, or perhaps chosen not to notice, that the young angry man had decided to follow me, presumably to continue to contest his ticket situation that I couldn't fix. I stared at the commotion, but then got the head nod from the guard, so I turned heel and went back to my meeting. An hour or so of an unproductive, stifling meeting later, I had a rather embarrassed admin aide waiting for me. She asked extremely politely if I would mind following her, and as I was led to the depths of this governmental building, as we turned the final corner, I realised why I was there. The young angry man was now a young terrified man in a holding area marshalled by more armed guards. I was immediately met by the Chief of Security, who I happen to know quite well. Chief says, "OP, sorry to bother you, but this young man claims you gave him a parking ticket and that is why he was following you in here." I say, "Sort of. He seems to think I can give parking tickets." Chief says, "Are you serious?" I say, "Apparently I give off traffic warden vibes." Chief says, "So is he telling the truth?" "Within reason." Chief, "Okay, we'll process him." Then we shared some niceties about family, people we know, etc., and I headed off to the next thing I had to do that day. On this rare occasion, I can actually tell you the fate of the young man. He was let go with a severe warning not to trespass on government property again, escorted to his vehicle, and strongly suggested they would rather not see him ever again. So he didn't have anything worse happen to him than lose a few hours, still have a parking ticket, and I shall quote this one, probably need a change of underwear. Still, had he gotten much further, it could have been far worse, so maybe he'll learn to be a bit more observant next time. I certainly know I will. Wow, what can you say about that? Look, at the end of the day, nobody really likes parking wardens, but everybody knows what they look like. Just that young dude got what he deserved, I suppose. Probably got off lightly considering where he was and how crazy he was going, but I mean, we live and learn, and hopefully he's learned a lot from that. So we'll see. Hey, what can you do, huh? So, just to start, this isn't an I don't work here, it's a you don't work here. A little backstory. I work at a very popular taco place. It's a chain. You probably know it. I live in a small city that is full of football fans and churchgoers. The morning staff consists of me, 2 cooks, 1 prep and 1 dish. In my state you can't sell alcohol until 10 on Sundays, so there's no bar yet. So back to what happened. I get into work at 8:45 and start doing my morning duties, helping the usual breakfast stragglers when the first of the church crowd comes in and I can't finish. I'm the cashier, busser, expo person, which is normal at this time. My co-workers don't come in until 11. The game starts at 12, so there's limited time to get the dining room back in order for our lunch crowd. A huge family comes in, and there are easily 10 kids in this group. From the get-go, I am unable to keep up with the cleaning, but thankfully I manage to struggle on until my backup arrives. We get hit for the next few hours with our church crowd and the game day watchers. I didn't get to make our frozen margarita mix, put out the patio umbrellas, or make sure the bathrooms are fully stocked. One of the cashiers is 16, and while he is a good kid, he doesn't do anything unless he's asked. It's close to 2 p.m, and one of my co-workers was supposed to have gotten off work at 1. I can see her husband, sitting at one of the tables, watching his wife get orders as fast as she can so that the crowd isn't left to the other 2 cooks. As I'm bussing and taking dishes to the area so they can be collectively taken to the dish pit, I see a hand reach over the half wall and grab a rag out of the sanitation bucket. I look up to see her husband walking down the row to wipe down the table I'd just collected dishes from. I run after him. This is not okay. The husband does not work at our shop and he receives no compensation for any work done. My manager is super strict. We are tight. Customers do not bus or clean their own tables type of shit. Which is fine with me. I work well with clearly defined duties and responsibilities. I tell him that he doesn't need to do this and that we will take care of it and try to take the rag from him. He doesn't let me and says I've got it. This guy is much bigger than me. I'm a 30-year-old female and I stand at 6 foot tall. This guy towers over me easily. It gets worse from there. He's now going to customers collecting their dirty dishes and wiping down the drink station. My guests are clearly confused. He wasn't even wearing anything like one of our many coloured shirts with our logo and our name, as well as a catchy little joke on the back. We can wear jeans or shorts with slip-resistant shoes. He has on sandals, cargo shorts, and a completely plain dark blue shirt. The more we ask him to stop, the more he does. I'm so beyond angry and frustrated about this. I am in no way looking forward to the ass chewing awaiting me the next time I see my boss. He watches cameras all the time. I'm just praying with all my might that he will see me try several times to get him to stop and double down keeping the restaurant clean, as well as keeping the order lines short. Well, I'm not sure about you everybody, but I think OP sort of coming at this from the wrong place here. The husband was trying to help out. His missus was already doing an hour's worth of overtime. He's got places to go, things to do, you know. I understand, look, from his safety point of view, but can you not just let him help out a little bit? And as for the manager needs to be shot. If he has enough time to watch the cameras but not enough time to figure out this kind of stuff happens without being able to get some more staff in, I don't know. If I was OP, I'd probably be thinking about going down to the next little taco place that we all know about. You know, like, it can't be that hard. But anyway, good luck to all involved, hey? Cheers. So this was a few years ago, but I was reading about another show star incident that reminded me of this. I had just started my new job at a giant electronics store. The uniforms are bright blue shirts and black pants. Seeing as how this was my first retail job, I did not have the best shoes. After my shift, I remembered there's a shoe store in the same shopping centre. So I just walked from my store to the other store at the end of the centre and go about my business. I'm obviously still in uniform, and the uniforms for the shoe store are red, not blue. I knew what I was looking for, so I made quick work of finding my shoes and grabbed them. As I was heading to the register, this lady smacked the box out of my hand and my phone goes down with it. As I bend down to pick up my phone, her husband says, "You shouldn't be on your phone while working, and we need help." I was young and a hothead, so I had a mouth. So I looked at him and his wife and said, "You're both either effing idiots or blind, and since you can see me, you're obviously not blind. My uniform is obviously for the store up the road, and both of you are nasty see you next Tuesday types." The manager came rushing over because my words really did ring out in the store. He takes one look and sighs because he's probably seen this before. He explains that I obviously don't work here, and even if I did, it's unacceptable to smack objects out of other people's hands. They go on a rant and rave about how I'm rude, and they'll speak with my manager, yada yada, and ask for my name. I didn't have my name badge, so I gave them a random name and say, "Go ahead," to my manager. But I'm buying these shoes, and if my phone is busted, I will press charges. I did get an additional 10% off the shoes, and my manager did mention that a couple came and complained about an employee. My manager asked if they had a name badge on. It wasn't, so he told them his employees when off clock are not his business, and he can't identify them because he doesn't have an employee with that name. He did have a talk with all employees and said to remember to take our names off when we leave the shop. What a wonderful manager, huh? Yeah, just like be careful. Obviously, you go out, you're still, some places will still see it as you representing the company just by being in uniform. And as a young man who still has to go through a bit of customer training, like, it's fair enough. Yeah, look, you could easily press charges. I hope there wasn't any damage on the phone. It doesn't actually say. People do need to be put in their place a little bit, you know, but we have to try and temper our response a little bit as well, you know. But yeah, like I say, big up to OP's manager for trying to make sure that these people can't get in trouble when they're outside of work. Good job. Well, a couple of years ago, my wife had a blood clot and she was rushed to hospital. Once she was out of danger, but still in the ICU, I went for a walk. I grabbed a tall boy and a pack of smokes. Being in Utah, I didn't want to be walking around with an open container, so I waited to pop it open until I got back on hospital grounds. I went to the very edge of the parking lot, sat on the curb, popped open my beer and lit up. The hospital does provide a valet parking service, but I'm far from that area. A boomer couple pull up and stop. The window rolls down and this exchange took place. Them, we're in a hurry. Me, okay. Them, we need you to return to the valet and park our car. Me, chugging a beer and smoking a cigarette, say, I don't work here. Them, sir, you parked our car for us the last time we were here. Now please return to the valet podium and park our car. Now I must say, I'm 55, salt and pepper hair, unshaven, cap, sunglasses, t-shirt, shorts and flip-flops that I just threw on to follow the ambulance. And I've only ever seen much younger guys running the valet. So I say, I really don't think you want me parking your car. And like I said, I don't work here. So they say, we recommend you get up and return to the podium immediately and park our car. We're in a hurry. If not, we'll make sure you're fired. Me, the stress of the last 18 hours has finally hit. Why don't you go and fuck yourselves? They say, excuse me? You heard me. Go fuck yourself. Them, the man slams the truck into neutral and exit. The wife says, you better watch your mouth, young man. Me, I stand up. As the man comes around the back of the vehicle, I set my beer down, take a drag from the cigarette and flick the button in his general direction, shouting, my wife is upstairs in the ICU. I've had a pretty stressful night and day. I was hoping to have a beer and a smoke and recanter myself so I can go and be supportive to her. I've completely fucked that up now. So the next best thing is going to be releasing my frustration physically. It's been some time since I was in a fight, but the more I think about it, the more I believe it's exactly what I need. So let's go. Then he stops in his tracks, trying as hard as he can to retreat, but not seem weak. Wife, we're going straight to security and you're getting fired and arrested. They tried to squeal the tires and leave, but whatever their POS truck was, it didn't have enough power for that. I walked over to where my cigarette butt landed, picked it up and went back to the curb. Never heard from or saw anyone from security and gave the valet guy a nice wave as I passed by, going back into the hospital. Well, that escalated kind of quickly, didn't it? I'm not going to blame the dude. He's been there, stressed out, worried about his wife. Like, yeah, he went from 0 to 90 pretty quick, but he was pushed. Just a little bit, but a push is a push. And there's nothing you can do to come away from that. People just need to calm down, you know, and look around you. Like, I don't care if I'm bringing my dying child to the hospital. If I see someone who possibly looks half homeless drinking out of a can of beer, like even if he's at the valet parking place, I'm not going to let him into my car. No way. People need to have be more aware of their surroundings, you might say. Just like we learned from the last story. So, what are we going to do in this world? It's mad. It's mad. I'm just glad everybody's okay. And there we have it, everybody. That's the final story on what's going to be the very first video done on this channel. I've had a bit of fun making it. It's been interesting learning all the processes. I'm sure there's a long way to go. I'm not stressing about trying to get this perfect, or even believe that by the time I've done 100 of them I'll be anywhere near perfection. But if there's any criticism, any tips, hints, anything in the comments, like whether it's positive, neutral or negative or just downright hateful, I don't care, stick it in there. I'll have a look. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to make a few of these anyway, whether people come or not, and we'll just see where it goes. If you got any enjoyment or anything out of this at all, please don't be afraid to hit the like and subscribe buttons, maybe share it with your friends, see if we can grow this thing and help spread some joy around the place. So apart from that, hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Sláinte.